This video is part of the Fundamentals Training Series, Southwest Middle School, and this is covering Google Documents and all of the things that we're going to be talking about in week 2. So this week we're talking about how we create Google Documents, share a Google document, provide feedback with comments and edits, and direct comments to specific users. I'm going to add one on here that we're also going to talk about is, how do we add links to comments, because that kind of rolls right in there nicely. So the first thing that we can do when we do this, creating documents, there's lots of ways to create Google Docs. One of the first ways that I can create a Google Doc is in my Drive. Go up to the New button, click the New button, and I create a new Google Doc. Another way that I can create a Google Doc is by going in through the Google Docs app launch, and I can create a Google Doc directly from here by hitting the plus icon on a new blank document, or using a template that's provided for me in my template gallery at the top of my Google Docs. So today we're going to work with start a new document right here would be where I would go. I'm going to go back to, and we're going to work with our training check off that we've got here. So sharing a Google document, again, Google makes it very easy to share tools or share documents and share resources, collaborate with others. One of the easiest ways is to click on the blue share button when you're inside a Google Doc. When I click on this, it's going to open up the same window regardless of how I do this. So I'm only going to go over this one once. But when I share with others, I put their email addresses in. And then I can choose, do I want them to be able to edit it? Do I want them to comment? Do I want them to view? And how do I want to do this? So now this one is unique because I shared this as a file through, this is shared with through the Classroom as well, and we can get to how the Classroom is done. But the other thing that you can do is you can get a shareable link, and by turning on the shareable link, you can get a link to the document that by default is for Albert Lee Schools employees' addresses only, but you can change that to be something that goes outside of the school district, and you just choose, are they able to edit, comment, or view? So other ways that you can share from your Google Docs, go to the File menu, hit Share. Another way that you can share is go under your Drive, and I can hit the share icon, which it's always the person with the plus, to share it that way. Or I can select the file. I've got the file selected here, and that's how I would share that. Or I can right click, or on my Chromebook, 2 fingers on the right half to open up, and I can hit the share here to get a shareable link. Lots and lots of ways to share documents with Google. The next part is providing feedback with comments and suggested edits. So one of the things that we can do with providing comments is if there's something that I like, I can highlight it. So let's just say I'm going to highlight this here because I think this is a great skill. I come over here to this comment button, and I can make my comment here. Great skill. This is something that works very nicely for students if you're trying to get them to do something with, you want them to revise papers or do edits. This will greatly help them with that because you can make recommendations of it. I can also direct comments to specific users. If this is something that I want to go to somebody, maybe I'm collaborating on something, I'm going to create a new comment. I first insert the plus. That will open up, and it brings up people that I most recently looked at. So I'm going to just do Jill Nelson for this one. So we're going to pick her. And with Jill, what we're going to do, let me scroll over here so that you guys can see this a little bit better. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put for Jill Nelson to please add a new line to this skill list. So then I've got that. If I hit this assign button here, Jill would be notified, and it would get an email saying, hey, there's a comment for her to do. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cancel this comment out so we don't have that. But I do have this comment up here. So when I click on this comment, there's a couple of things that I can do. I'm another user. I can come in and reply to the comment. If it's something that was to add a comma period or something of that nature, I could resolve that comment, or I can create a link to this comment. This is an awesome tool because what I can do here is when I hit link to this comment, this gives me a link that goes directly to that comment or that section. So I can send that to somebody and they would go right to look at that specific part or that tool of it. And so that would be something that they can do with it. The other, one of the other things that you can do when looking at, adding your links or looking at things is I can also look at and view revision history. So if I want to see how this has been done, I can go to the version history and I can see the version history. So this will give me all of the people that have accessed it and have made any changes to it. This is a very good tool if you're trying to work on a collaborative docket with students and you want to see who's logging in and how long they're logging, or not how long, but who's logging in and how often they're logging in. If students are not logging in here, if these are all, everybody's working on creating this document, you can see the names of the users that have logged in and made changes to the document. So if somebody's not pulling their weight in a shared group project, it'd be pretty easy to see. I can also click if somebody messed a file up or did something, I can go down and I can restore this version of the file. This is very important that if you do share this or have students know this, if they all have edit rights, any one of them can restore to a previous version history if they needed to go back to a previous version if it had to happen. This is a real quick tutorial on some of the features and fun in Google Docs for week 2.